afternoon, and a warm welcome to all of you. So thank you for logging into our webinar, Explore Diverse Opportunities with Dubai Airport Freezone. My name is Elena Blaton, and I'm working with the European Enterprise team of MBG Corporate Services, and it's my pleasure to be the host for today's session. So before we get started, I would like to thank the entire team of Dubai Airport Freezone and the German Emirati Joint Council for Industry and Commerce for co-hosting this webinar. So you will be having the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenters by typing your questions into the Q&A box of the control panel. You may send your questions at any time during the presentation, as we will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. So just to briefly introduce MBG Corporate Services to you. So we have been established in 2002 and are headquartered in Singapore, having 19 offices across 8 countries, covering the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Here in the UAE, we have around 250 employees spread across our offices in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Sharjah. So through these offices, we serve around 3,000 clients globally and are very proud that more than 100 of them are Fortune 500 companies. So we have an extremely wide range of services, which enables us to support organizations wherever they are in their journey. We have the traditional audit and assurance business. We do a lot of work in risk advisory, and we have experts heading the indirect and direct taxation. On the mergers and acquisition side, we support companies on both the sell and buy side, and we have our legal services that can support at any stage. So we continuously support companies in their strategy and transformation requirements. So let's have a look at today's agenda. So Mrs. Meta Al-Maheri will be giving the opening remarks on behalf of Dubai Airport Freezone, followed by Mr. Oliver Ooms, who will be giving the opening remarks on behalf of AHK. Then Mr. Naveed Ahmed will tell us how Dubai Airport Freezone is a dynamic business hub for global trade and share some client testimonials. Next, Mr. Vipin Ahuja will be taking us through the VAT compliances in the UAE, which will be followed by a Q&A. So I hereby gladly welcome our first speaker of the day, Mrs. Meta Al-Maheri, who is the Assistant Director of Business Growth at Dubai Airport Freezone, where she holds over 9 years of extensive experience. She began her career in the sales department, but has since then served many positions in Dubai Airport Freezone while successfully developing her expertise to hold her current title, and has grown quickly in her career path. So over to you, Mrs. Mehta.
Partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Meta Al-Maheri, and I am the Assistant Director of Marketing and Business Growth at Dubai Airport Freezone. It is a pleasure to be here with you all today and a privilege to have the chance to meet with so many business associates, colleagues, and friends. Today is an opportunity to explore new prospects and learn about the potential collaboration and business. Today's session will be focusing on the opportunities for economic growth and collaboration between Germany and UAE. The world has changed dramatically over the last few years. However, the need for people to connect, do business, and work together will always be critical for the development and sustainable growth of our economies. Countries like Germany and the UAE are always exploring new ways of working together and continue strengthening business and relationships. The UAE is Germany's biggest trading partner in the region. In 2021, the non-oil trade exchange between Germany and the UAE amount to $9.5 billion, a 10.5% increase from 2020. Dubai is a transportation hub connecting Europe and the rest of the world, and we believe that greater collaboration between Germany and Dubai will bring significant benefits to businesses on both sides. The free zone that I represent have been active in working with German companies for many years. Today, DAFZ is home to many German companies, such as Volkswagen, Bauer, Haribo, MAN, and Hummer. DAFZ will continue to provide an ideal environment for growth, which has been instrumental in driving foreign investment into Dubai and supporting UAE's long-term economic plans. Today, this webinar aims to highlight how Dubai's business-friendly environment enables companies to grow and expand in the region and beyond. It will demonstrate how setting up and expanding operations at DAFZ can enable your business to thrive and grow by reaching out to a market of 2.4 billion consumers with a 5-hour flight radius. We look forward to working with participants of this event to better understand current investment policies, economic and trade regulations, and explore further opportunities for collaboration. Distinguished guests, we have the opportunity to create strategic, long-term relationships and partnerships today, and I would like to thank you all very much for attending. I look forward to connecting and meeting with all of you soon again. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Mehta, for this opening remarks. So I hereby invite Mr. Oliver Erms to take the word on behalf of AHK.
Thank you very much. I hope that my camera is working now and that you can hear me as well. So camera seems to be working. Yeah, I was very much looking forward to seeing my CV presented in such a lovely manner as well. But I'm just joking. I'm happy to do it by myself. Well, obviously, it's a great pleasure and honor to jointly host this event together with our long-standing partners and friends from the DAFZ, Dubai Airport Freezone, and of course MBG, who has been a very close partner to ours and a member of AHK as well. I'm managing the German Emirati Joint Council for Industry and Commerce, or I have been for the last 4 years or so. Before that, I've been on a similar position in Saudi, just to summarize my CV a little bit. And before that, I have been in various functions, Indonesia, chamber functions as well, in the beautiful country of Indonesia. So living abroad now for pretty much exactly 14 years. The German Emirati Joint Council for Industry and Commerce, it's a bilateral organization. It's a not-for-profit organization operating out of Dubai, as you can see from my beautiful digital background. It's part of the global network of German chambers abroad, or in short, AHK, which is an abbreviation for a very long German word, Auslandshandelskammer, which means nothing but German chamber abroad. We are part of the German, let's say, ecosystem of foreign trade and investment promotion. And from our name, you can see that we have the pleasure to operate as a bilateral platform here in the UAE. Indeed, the UAE is where the heart of German industry beats across the Gulf region. This has always been the case, and I'm pretty confident to say that this will remain like this. We are currently representing some 550 corporate members, many of them being based here in the UAE, operating out of the UAE and covering a growing region. For many of our members of German industry, it's no longer about the Gulf region, which is overlooked from Dubai and the UAE, but it is a region which in many cases is covering the African continent, significant parts of the African continent, parts of South Asia. And we also see that the role of the UAE as a hub for parts of Central Asia has been developing quite dynamically recently. It's a fantastic place to work, and of course also a fantastic place to live in. That's an important aspect which sometimes during these business events is a little bit overlooked. It's a place which comes with a fantastic ecosystem of German organizations and institutions, including 3 German schools operating here in the UAE, which is very noteworthy also on the global standard. Having said this, I wish us all some new insights. I'm curious to hear what DAFZ has been developing recently, knowing that DAFZ is known for reinventing itself every once in a while, just to emerge even better and more professional than it has been before. Having said this, I wish us all some interesting insights. As I said, please make use of the chat function I'm happy to stay on board, and I'm also happy to respond to questions. All the best, and back to our moderator.
Thank you, Oliver, for this personal introduction. So next, I would like to welcome Mr. Naveed Ahmed, who is part of the business account team in Dubai Airport Freezone, where he is responsible for identifying and targeting new business opportunities, along with providing businesses and investors a seamless experience when joining Dubai Airport Freezone. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you, MBG, for providing this opportunity today for us to present Dubai Airport Freezone. And also, Mr. Oliver, thank you so much for joining us. And it's a pleasure to see you after some time. I hope my presentation is up. Dubai Airport Freezone was established in 1996. So for over 25 years, Dubai Airport Freezone has been helping and enabling foreign investors and businesses to set up a legal entity and be able to reach out to the 2.4 billion consumer market within a 5-hour flight radius. Over the years, Dubai Airport Freezone has been quite successful and has been able to host these global companies in 18 office buildings, 300 warehouses, and providing excellent investment incentives such as no restrictions on currency, no restrictions on employment, no corporate tax, no personal income tax, and above all, 100% foreign ownership. Now, part of the objective of these incentives was to attract foreign businesses and investors to operate and conduct business using Dubai as the hub, and it successfully reached to that stage where Dubai today is the hub for businesses to operate from, and the hub for trade and commerce. Currently, DAFZ hosts 2,300 companies from multiple industries, and we're going to look at that in a couple of slides. DAFZ is also a designated zone, which means that the goods that are coming into the free zone and are re-exported, there is no VAT or custom duties applicable on those goods. At the heart of everything that we do here in DAFZ is to contribute to Dubai's foreign trade and to contribute to the GDP of UAE. Dubai Airport Freezone has been successful in contributing to the growth of UAE and Dubai, as it contributed 10.7% to Dubai's foreign trade in the year 2021. The foreign trade exceeded 162 billion dirhams in 2021, which was a 36% growth over on a year-on-year basis, with a surplus of 9.3 billion dirhams and growth of 25.5% on re-exports. One of the key sectors that contributed the most to this growth number was machinery, precious stones, and optical and medical. The leading trade partners for DAFZ or companies that operate from DAFZ were China, which contributed 30% in the trade volumes, followed by India, 5%, which is valued at 7.9 billion dirhams. United States at 3.2%, valued at 5.14 billion dirhams. And Switzerland contributing 2.4%, valued at 3.8 billion. And we soon want to see Germany take the lead here as well, as it does with the rest of the industries and sectors. DAFZ is a multi-theme free zone, so it's not a industry-specific or sector-based free zone. We have companies operating, regional and global companies operating from our free zone in various industries, such as the leading one being electronics, electrical, computer, and ICT. followed by logistics, freight and aerospace, machinery, engines, engineering and building materials, 12% coming from consultancy, business development, investment, 7% from food and beverages, and so on and so forth. And within these industries, DAFZ hosts the best of the best names from each sector and industry. You could see Airbus and Boeing from the aerospace and aviation industry. You can see Thales from IT and telecommunication. Hershey's, Red Bull, Heinz, Monster, Yakult, Fosca from the food and beverages industry. BP, Chevron from oil and gas sector. Automobiles, here are some of the leading German auto manufacturer, Audi, Volkswagen. They are also based in Dubai Airport Freezone with having the regional hubs here. Johnson & Johnson, Himalaya Drug Company from medical and pharmaceutical industry. And from the luxury items, we have Estee Lauder, Chanel, Monte Grappa, Fossil. From the aviation sector, we also have Air France and KLM. These companies use the free zone as their hub for the region and beyond. DAFZ is very uniquely placed in the entire ecosystem, where it bridges the gap between the foreign investors and businesses and the public sector here in Dubai. Therefore, in our efforts, we have become a one-stop shop where Dubai Airport Freezone is a license issuing authority, which means the licenses are issued by DAFZ. We are also the landlords. That means we provide the premises for businesses to operate from, and we provide the necessary services along with that as well, such as obtaining visa for your employees, such as connecting you with the government offices, such as Dubai Customs, Dubai Chambers, Dubai Police, Dubai Health Authority. A host of services are available that facilitate the operations of your business, such as the business center facilities, where there are conference rooms, training facilities, and auditoriums available. We also are uniquely placed in the cargo handling side, where we have 24-hour custom clearance service available within the free zone, courtesy to our direct connectivity with the Dubai International Airport, which is the world's busiest airport currently. All services such as IT, telecom, banking are available within the perimeters of the zone, which means that for any operational or business needs, you don't need to go out of the free zone. They are all available within our free zone and free zone premises. As part of rewarding the employees that are working in the free zone, there are offers and discounts available for leisure and work through our HIA program. We also have DAFZ Enablement Agency, it's called DINA, which provides all necessary services such as marketing, accounting to logistics. We understand that the companies that we cater to are new to the market and would require the support to establish themselves and operate in a very seamless way. And that's the DAFZ promise, and that's what makes us unique in the market. When you are deciding on setting up your business in DAFZ, you have to make 3 choices, and we are going to run them through in the next upcoming slides. So the first one is choosing the right license. The second one is choosing the right company type, and the third is choosing your space. We offer a wide array of licenses which enable the holders to conduct the business activity that they plan on as per their business plan. So if you want to trade in specific products or items, then trading license is the best fit for you, because then you are able to import, export, distribute, store, also get a customs code based on the items that you are going to be trading in, and that's going to be specified on your license. Similarly, service license holders would be able to carry out service activities that are specified on their license, such as IT consultancy or similarly any other service. E-commerce could be added as an activity to your trading or service license whereby whatever items or products you are trading in or whatever service you are providing, you could then provide that through electronic mediums such as digital mediums or a website or an app. And that is enabled through this license where e-commerce is added to your trading or service license. The industrial license enables you to carry out light manufacturing activities such as packaging and assembling. The general trading license allows you to import, export, store, distribute everything and anything. However, there are some added restrictions and there are some risks involved. However, if that suits your business plan and your business need, we are able to cater to that. As per the directions of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, the Crown Prince of Dubai, we have launched something called a talent pass. This is a free license permit for individuals who are able to conduct activities within their field of expertise on a freelancer basis. And they are able to avail a bank account, they are able to avail a golden visa as well if they fit in the criteria. DAFZ also collaborated with the Dubai Economic and Tourism Corporation, which allows holders to get a dual license. That is, by having a premises in DAFZ and having a DAFZ license, they can approach Dubai Economic Department and avail an onshore license without having the need to have a premises on onshore, and then to use the free zone premises to obtain that license. Now, once you have made the selection of the license type that best fits your business plan and your business needs, you must look at the type of structure for your company or the legal entity in the free zone. So it could either be a branch which would act as a representative office of your parent company, or as an extended arm of your parent company, where you set up a branch with no share capital requirement. On the other hand, you can set up a new company altogether as a free zone company, which would be established in UAE with its country of origin being in UAE, with 1 to 50 shareholders that could be individual or non-individual. The share capital requirement in this case is only 1 dirham. DAFZ is also the only free zone that allows you to set up a public listed limited company with limited liability in a free zone ecosystem. Thereby, you don't have any limit on shareholders, and it's best suited for companies that plan on conducting an IPO or an initial public offering on any of the security markets, especially in the Dubai financial markets. We are proud partners with the Dubai financial markets, Nasdaq Dubai, and SCCP, which is the SCP, which is Security and Commodities Authority. Using our company structure, the PLC company structure, you could list your companies and conduct an IPO in these markets. The last choice that you need to make is the office facility that you would require for your business. Now, please understand that to obtain a DAFZ license, you must have an office in DAFZ, and we have a wide variety of furnished office packages available, such as the Smart Office package, which comes with a desk space, a business license, and 1 employment visa. The lease term on an annual basis is $9,433. A business boutique office is a private office of 12 to 15 square meter where you get a license to employment visa quota, and this is a fully furnished private office. The 1-year lease term would be $13,075. A premium package is again a private office, but on a larger size of 25 square meters. And part of this package, you get a business license, 2 employment visas, quota, and a fully furnished office for 2 people. In business boutique office, it's a fully furnished office for 1 person or 1 employee. This is for 2 employees premium package. It will come to around US $22,000 for a 1-year lease term. A premium plus package, this is a fully furnished serviced office of 50 square meters. It comes with 1 meeting room, 1 manager's cabin, and 4 workstations. This comes with a business license and 6 employment visa quota. For a 1-year lease term, the cost will be approximately $39,000 US, which is renewable annually. DAFZ also offers pre-built light industrial units or warehouses, which could be used for storing, packaging, distribution. Again, one of the key factors here is that because of our proximity to the Dubai International Airport, these are best fit for catering to consumers and saving time and cost in serving them in the region. These could be used as cold storage, they could be temperature controlled, and the region, the entire premises is highly secured, so you don't have those security concerns or issues as well. These are pre-built for an area of 350 square meters that come with a 90 square meter of ground floor and mezzanine floor offices. They come with a 1-year lease term, which are renewable annually. Due to the high demand of our warehouses next to the Dubai International Airport, and because of the restrictions that they pose, because you cannot do heavy industrial activities because of the proximity to the Dubai International Airport, DAFZ developed the DAFZ Industrial Park, which is approximately 5 kilometers away from the Dubai International Airport. This premises has the same benefits of the DAFZ Freezone, and it has 33 warehouses with 10 dedicated for cold storage. The average warehouse size here is 312 square meters, and each unit comes with a visa quota of 20 visas. Also, this is a designated zone premises as well. In our efforts to always go one step beyond and in helping investors to set up their business in Dubai and use Dubai as the hub for their activities in the region and beyond, DAFZ has initiated these solutions, such as Scality, which is targeted for startups in the tech sector, which enables them right from their inception to scaling up, and developing and connecting with the right partners and the right ecosystem for them to grow and expand beyond UAE and the region. DAFZ has also established Halal Trade and Marketing Center, which is which is supporting companies that want to venture into the 1.5 billion Muslim market, and which is the majority of the consumer market across in our region, in the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia region. Now, the key services it provides is certification and compliance advisory around Islamic economy products, Sharia financing, providing market insights, sales and marketing support. These are just some services that the center focuses on. DAFZ also launched TradeLink, which is an innovative technology company targeting or supporting the B2B e-marketplace, and the only one in the MENA region. It provides all the necessary facilities that are required by businesses to enable the B2B trade within the region, such as financing, escrow accounts, logistics, and all associated services with regards to the B2B trade. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, MBG and Mr. Oliver, for giving us the opportunity and joining us today. I'll pass on to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Naveed, for these insights on the Dubai Airport Freezone. So next we have Mr. Vipin Ahuja, our Associate Partner Indirect Tax at MBG Corporate Services. So Mr. Vipin is leading the indirect tax practice, which includes VAT, excise tax, and customs here at MBG Corporate Services in the GCC. He is a chartered accountant, having over 13 years of experience in advising clients on the entire range of indirect tax and regulatory issues. He's passionate about indirect taxes with the ability to manage figures, legal knowledge, analytical skills, and project management. His additional qualifications are Masters of Commerce and Diploma in Information System Audit. So we will be glad to go over to the session about VAT compliances in the UAE. Mr. Vipin, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Alina. Thanks for this introduction. And to start with, thanks Ms. Mehta and Mr. Naved from Dubai Airport Freezone Authority, and thanks Mr. Oliver also for your support and for your wishes always whenever any new thing is coming in UAE, especially into VAT, corporate tax. So German Emirati Council is very active in this area. Thanks a lot on this. In next 15 minutes, I'm going to cover the overall VAT framework in UAE in brief. And I'm going to cover that today why we are talking about VAT, because VAT is not a new phenomena for companies in UAE. VAT came in 2018. It has been announced in 2017 and it has been implemented from January 1st, 2018. So the question is today why we are talking about VAT. So I'm going to talk about VAT journey so far in UAE in last 5 years. And then I'm going to talk about what FTA is doing as of today. I'm going to share some insight on FTA tax audit. To start with VAT journey so far, yes, it has been introduced from January 1st, 2018. It came with the decree, law, and executive regulation. That after that, time to time, FTA has published more than 25 VAT guides on various sectors. Then Federal Tax Authority has issued more than 30 public clarification in which they try to address some of the gray areas, some of the clarification. Then in UAE law, there is one provision that if a company has any doubt on the transaction, on the taxability of the transaction, then company can file a private clarification. So more than 1,000 private clarification Federal Tax Authority has issued for various companies. As we know, more than 300,000 companies are registered with Federal Tax Authorities. FTA has announced various VAT refund scheme for their stakeholders. One VAT refund scheme is for Emiratis. If there is any local Emirati who is doing construction of villa for their own residence, they can claim 5% VAT refund. So this was the first VAT refund announced by Federal Tax Authority. Then we know tourist VAT refund scheme. If a tourist is coming in UAE and while living out of this country, they can claim 5% VAT refund for the goods which they are taking with them. Then other VAT refund scheme was for Expo 2020 event. The operators as well as the construction for construction companies, this VAT refund was allowed from Federal Tax Authority. Time to time, Federal Tax Authorities has done various changes to smooth line the operation of VAT compliances. As we know earlier, the penalty regime was very strict. A lot of companies in UAE got heavy penalty in UAE. Then in 2021, FTA has announced that if a company has got any penalty before June 2021, they can pay 30% of the penalty amount and 70% penalty waiver can be availed from FTA. Then there was a lot of confusion about the VAT applicability in VAT designated zone, as my friend Mr. Naved has mentioned that AFZA is a free zone as well as it's a VAT designated zone. VAT is not applicable. So yes, VAT is not applicable, but there was some gray area in terms of Incoterms. If your customer is located into mainland or if your customer is located outside UAE. So sometimes VAT was applicable as per the Incoterms. But again, Federal Tax Authority has done some changes into the law, and they have issued guide also that going forward, VAT should not be applicable for any transaction moving from designated zone to even mainland, but the importer on record should be the company into mainland. Then earlier, if a company is getting any penalty from Federal Tax Authority, so before going into any dispute with the tax authority for TDRC or court, companies supposed to submit the tax amount and penalty amount before filing the appeal. But later on, this condition has been removed. So now, if a company wants to go for reconsideration, they need not to submit any tax and penalty. And if company wants to move to TDRC, they have to deposit only tax amount, not the penalty amount. Then a separate committee has been formed in UAE for large size cases. We know some of the companies in UAE who got large kind of penalty in UAE. So a separate committee has been formed by Federal Tax Authority to have a review on this penalty and to give some kind of relaxation on those penalties. Next slide. Yes, so the overall framework from Ministry of Finance has been designed for FTA as well as taxpayers, wherein FTA is responsible to give the mechanism for VAT refund, tax audit, tax assessment, and the levy of penalty. Then Federal Tax Authority is responsible to issue private and public clarifications. Then FTA is doing a lot of workshop and awareness session on timely basis to give awareness on VAT related issues. Then Federal Tax Authorities has done a lot of amendments in decree law, executive regulation, and they are issuing guides as and when required. And FTA is responsible to manage and administer the total refund scheme, all the refund scheme which I mentioned a few minutes back. Then taxpayer is responsible to understand their business model. They need to apply the tax position as per the business model, like they need to apply standard rate, 0%, out of scope or exempt supply. Every month or every quarter, based on the taxability, companies needs to file VAT return based on the self-assessment. Then any point of time, if a company is doing any mistake, they can do correction into their VAT return by filing voluntary disclosure. Every company has to maintain the books of accounts and records for 5 years, 5 years from the end of the financial years. And then in case FTA wants to do tax audit for any company, they need to reply to the questions of the auditors and they need to provide the all documents to that. Next slide, please. So yes, after, because this is the 5th year of VAT implementation, and as we know that 2023 would be the last year when FTA can do the audit of 2018 records. So FTA also understands this whole story, and that's why, because the audit of for 2018 will become time barred. That is why FTA would like to do the audit of some companies. For sure, the Federal Tax Authority cannot do audit of all companies, all registered companies, 300,000 companies in UAE. But few transactions, few companies, they need to do the audit, maybe on sample size, like other country, if you see UK or KSA or India, those tax authority do a review of 4 to 5%. So if Federal Tax Authority also select a sample size of 4 to 5% of the companies, so 10 to 15,000 companies should be on Federal Tax Authority radar, which we have seen in the first half of 2022 years also. So this is the report published by Federal Tax Authority, wherein FTA auditors has done inspection of around 10,000 companies in UAE. Out of 10,000, they noticed more than 1,200 violations in UAE, which has been resulted into 130 million dirham payable tax, as well as the liability was, penalty was applicable on this 130 million tax liability. FTA also found that 404 companies were there who were doing tax business here in UAE, but they were not registered with Federal Tax Authority. Next slide, please. Yes, so the question is why FTA is doing audit. So first of all, it's come from UAE VAT law, wherein UAE VAT law has prescribed the time frame of 5 years for maintenance of books of accounts. So every company which is registered in UAE and they are doing taxable supply in UAE, they have to maintain the books of accounts for 5 years from the end of financial year. So let's take an example of 2018. For 2018 records, company has to maintain the books of accounts up to 2023 end. So after 2023, FTA would not ask any company to show their books of accounts. So indirectly, they cannot do audit for the company. In some exceptional cases, if FTA will issue any notice to any company before the end of 5 years, then company needs to maintain the books for additional 4 years. But more or less, for maximum companies, 5 years timeline would be applicable. And that's why FTA understood, and that's why FTA has done audit of lot of companies in 2022, and the same trend we will see in 2023. Next slide, please. So the question is, if FTA is coming for the audit, what kind of framework would be there? So first of all, in 2019, FTA auditors were coming to office directly and they start audit. They started, asking documents and information. But now after 2029, the trend has been changed. Now every FTA audit, tax audit, has been started by an official email, wherein you will receive an email that FTA would like to do a tax audit for your company. They will give 5 working days timeline to the company to be ready, and they will be sharing a sheet wherein company needs to provide the transaction-wise detail for last 5 years. When I say transaction-wise detail, it includes sales, purchase, import, export, out of scope, all transaction. FTA can ask any company to close their business for 72 hours if they have any kind of suspect for tax evasion. If Federal Tax Authority wants to visit to your office, so written consent from Director General is required in case if they required visit to your office. In case if Federal Tax Authority auditor, they want to visit to the resident, then the permission from public prosecutor is required. Next slide, please. Then what kind of rights a assessee have in UAE? So first of all, if you are getting any auditor into your office and they are saying that we are the tax auditor, so first of all, you can ask them to show their identification card so that it can be you can ensure that they are coming from FTA. Then secondly, as I have mentioned, that they should have the written approval from DG. You can ask them to show the copy of this tax audit notification to share with you. Then thirdly, if you want to attend this tax audit procedure, then you can make a request that other than company manager, let's say if you want to involve your tax agent or if you want to involve any tax consultant, so you can ask them that these are the team members who is going to attend this all proceedings. And lastly, if Federal Tax Authority asks you to give the original document, so firstly, you can make a request that you want to retain the copy with you before giving all these original document to Federal Tax Authority. Next slide, please. Then the process, as I have mentioned, the overall process can start by sending an email. FT will send an email to the company registered email ID, which is registered with Federal Tax Authority, that your company has been selected for Federal Tax Authority audit. Then they are going to allow 5 working days. In the meantime, company can prepare the transaction-wise detail, and within 5 working days, you have to share this detail with the Federal Tax Authority. Next step, Federal Tax Authority will go into this transaction-wise detail, and then they can ask to share some documents on sample basis. Let's say documents include sales invoice, purchase invoice, custom declaration, custom exit certificate, these kind of, or maybe some contracts also, or bank statement, these kind of documents Federal Tax Authority can ask. Then after reviewing all these documents, Federal Tax Authority can ask you to share the trial balance monthly or quarterly based on your return filing period. And then they are going to match the VAT return and your books of accounts. If there is any difference, then Federal Tax Authority can ask you to share the reconciliations between the books of accounts and the VAT return data. If there would be any mismatch, or if they are able to establish that any of the return has been filed wrongly, the tax position opted by the company was wrong, or the company has claimed any improper input tax credit, company has claimed any input tax credit based on the improper tax invoice of the supplier, then they will come with the assessment report. And assessment report would be having two parts, that whether you need to pay any tax to the federal tax authority or whether any penalty is applicable on the same. So federal tax authority will allow you 40 working days after this assessment report to file any reconsideration with federal tax authority. And within 40 working days, you can file an first appeal with FTA. And thus, if the first appeal would be rejected by federal tax authority, then the second appeal you can go to TDRC, Tax Dispute Resolution Committee, within 40 working days for the rejection of FTA. Next slide, please. Yes, this slide is not coming from the law. This is purely based on our experience, that what kind of companies would be on radar of federal tax authority for audit. It is not like every company FTA is going to do audit. We know that they would not be able to do 300,000 audit next year only. So for sure, the selection would be on some mechanism, and selection would be on some sampling basis. So the first companies who can be on FTA audit radar would be the companies who are filing VAT refund with FTA. If you are filing any VAT refund application and the refund amount is sizable, then federal tax authority can do audit of your company. Then large scale businesses, when I say large scale businesses, where the volume and the number of transactions are large, for example, airports, duty free shops, flight catering companies, where the transactions are into thousands or millions, number of millions, then this kind of companies can be on FTA radar for audit. Then number of voluntary disclosure. This is again, our experience. Some companies who are finding their mistakes today, for example, they are filing voluntary disclosure 1 or 2, then again they find some mistake, then again they start filing voluntary disclosure to correct those mistakes. So suggestion would be not to file voluntary disclosure on day in, day out basis. So please identify all your mistake one time, go for voluntary disclosures one time only for the previous mistakes. So these kind of companies who have tendency to file voluntary disclosure again and again, these kind of companies can be on FTA audit radar. Then history of late filing return. A company who is filing return late every time and they are paying to FTA every time after due date, these kind of companies can be on FTA audit radar. Then non-reconciliation with the custom record, as we know that now custom and VAT, both departments are linked. Today, if a company is doing any import from outside UAE, as soon as a company is filing custom declaration, the VAT is automatically popping up onto the VAT portal. So if there is any mismatch between the custom record and VAT record and books of accounts, these kind of companies can be on audit radar because FTA is getting data from both ends. Then second, adjustment. Yes, in federal tax, in VAT return file, there is some mechanism provided by the FTA. If there is any mistake into your return, or if any custom data is coming onto your portal, company can go into the adjustment. Many times going into adjustment or filing every return, if you are going into negative or positive adjustment, this kind of companies can be on FTA audit radar. There is a direct red flag into their system that there can be some problem. Then designated zone companies, not all companies, but the companies which is into designated zone, they are not paying VAT on the transaction, on the sales side, and even on the import side. So before 2023, federal tax authority can decide to select some of the companies for FTA audit. And then, as we know that in 2022, FTA has announced whistleblowing program. If your supplier, if your sales invoices are wrong, or if you are opting for wrong tax position, so anyone in UAE can inform to federal tax authority for these kind of non-compliances, because in return they are going to get the cash benefit from Federal Tax Authority if it would be proved that the company has done some mistake, and if FTA do the audit and if the company is getting penalty, the whistleblower will get the cash reward from Federal Tax Authority. Next slide, please. Yeah, and very quick, I would like to showcase that, why Federal Tax Authority is asking companies to file voluntary disclosure, why Federal Tax Authority is urging companies to do the correction for last 5 years, because in 2021, FTA has changed the penalty regime. If you ask me, earlier the penalty was very strict. 1% per day was the penalty if a company is doing any non-compliance into the return. 1% per day, 300% for the year, more than 300%. But in 2021, via Cabinet Decision 49, Federal Tax Authority has announced relaxation into the penalty regime. Now, penalty of 4% per month would be applicable if a company has done any mistake into their return. So I would like to showcase with an example in next slide. You can correlate how, if a company is filing voluntary disclosure, if a company is doing correction by their own, or if Federal Tax Authority is asking you to correct those mistakes. So there is a big difference in the penalty exposure. Can we go to the next slide for the example? Yes. So let's take an example. Total incorrect return was, VAT payment was 1,000 dirham. Sorry, 100,000 dirham. Then on 100,000 dirham, as per the previous penalty provision, total 400,000 penalty can be applicable if we'll go by 1% per day penalty. But now, as per new regime, the penalty would be 4%. But again, the thing is, the penalty would be 4% only applicable if you are not filing voluntary disclosure. If we do the total computation, the total penalty is applicable approx 300% if a company is not filing voluntary disclosure. But if a company opt for filing voluntary disclosure to do correction by their own, then only 40% of the tax amount would be the penalty on the assessee. So approx 7 times is the difference between penalties for the companies who are opting to do correction by themselves before FTA audit notice. Next slide, please. Recently, last month, FTA has announced some major changes into their decree law. Total 26 articles has been amended. Few definition has been inserted. I'm not going to talk about all changes, but there is one article, Article 79, which has been inserted into UAE VAT law, which says that every FTA can do audit maximum up to 5 years, but there is only one exception. The one exception is if before the end of 5 years, if FTA is giving any kind of notification to any SSC, then FTA can do audit up to 4 more years. That means total 9 years. So this clause was, indirect clause was already there from the very beginning, which says that company has to maintain the books of accounts for 5 years plus 4 years. But now this limitation is applicable onto FTA also. FTA cannot do audit after the completion of 5 years plus 4 years. And one major amendment came last month, that every company who is filing their return for last 5 years, they can file voluntary disclosure by end of 5 years. That means if a company who has filed their return in first quarter of 2018, they would be able to do the correction by April 2023, not later than that. If a company is having any kind of doubt onto their return, if you think that any non-compliance happened in the past, so the time is up to 5 years only. After that, FTA is not going to accept any voluntary disclosure, and the loss can be, if in case FTA do any audit and if they found any mistake, then 7 times penalty would be applicable, which is approx more than 300%. So there are a lot of things to which we can talk about VAT, but I think time is limited. Thank you very much for listening us. Thanks a lot. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask any question in relation to VAT. Thank you very much. Alina, over to you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Vipin, for these fat insights. I'm sure we now all realize the importance of the VAT compliance even more. So let's go over to the Q&A session. Our first question is for you, Mr. Navid. So after the setup in Dubai Airport Freezone, how long does it take to open a bank account?
Thank you so much, Elena, for this question. So DAFZ, as I had mentioned in my slide as well, we like to go above and beyond in serving our customers and helping foreign investors. We embarked on a journey where we impaneled a few banks, the local banks and the foreign banks as well, where we have a dedicated relationship manager from these banks who can assist in setting up a bank account for companies that are registered or legal entities that are established in Dubai Airport Freezone. Banks, of course, they would follow the necessary policies and procedures, and the state bank, the central bank policies as well, to set up a bank account. However, our relationship with the banks is very strong. That could really enable these foreign investors and businesses to set up a bank account in a very seamless way. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you for this explanation. If there are any remaining questions, please feel free to put it in the chat or the Q&A section. I will just wait 1 minute for you to gather your thoughts on the questions. Then we will be moving on to the closing remarks.
Elena, I think there is one question in chat in terms of audit. Do they have system audit as well? So to answer this question, FTA focuses on 4 things. First focus is on the tax position opted by the company. Let's say if a company is selling into mainland, Freezone, they are doing export. So FTA will collect all the documents, review contract, and then they will highlight that whatever tax position opted by the company, whether it's correct or not on sales side. On purchase side, all the supply invoice on which you have claimed input tax credit, they will ensure that all supply invoices should be correct as per UAE VAT law, Article 59 of Executive Regulation. Then secondly, they are, yes, FTA directly don't go into your ERP system, but indirectly, FTA will ask you to provide data into 5 working days. And they have some, specified requirement. For example, if a company is doing trading, FTA would like to know the custom record also, custom declaration number in case of import, custom exit number in case of export. So if a company who is having proper ERP system and the reports of the FTA has to get from the ERP, because otherwise, if a company who is having large kind of transaction, they would not be able to provide this data within 5 working days. To answer, yes, FTA don't go directly into your system. They will be asking for the report, but to implement the VAT processes into ERP is required, because within 5 working days, you need to give the data, transaction-wise data to that.
Yes, thank you. That explains it well, I believe. So to keep an eye on the time, I would just thank everyone for joining us today and for our session with Dubai Airport Freezone, to German Emirati Joint Council and MBG Corporate Services. And I would like to personally thank Ms. Meta Al-Meheri, Mr. Oliver Erms, Mr. Navid Ahmed, and Mr. Vipin Ahuja for sharing valuable insights and information today. So we look forward to doing such sessions in the near future as well. So be sure to check out the social pages of Dubai Airport Freezone, the AHK, or better known as German Emirati Joint Council, and MBG Corporate Services for future events. So thank you all again, and I will wish you a great rest of your day ahead.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.